I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to go along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Comes the long ball. That's what Wallen called for, but it is intercepted. And High Point, the Panthers, the 12 seed, continue on as they upset the Wisconsin Badgers 83-82.
I have questions. Why the long ball?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Come on.
What's up, Wisconsin? Hey.
Hey, we just started
back.
the car. The car's running.
God. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Inside Wisconsin Sports. Back on the radio on Monday. Following the opening rounds of the NCAA tournament. And a little bit of a vacay for both Josh and I. Shout out to Brian Butch for throwing us under the bus on Friday.
Oh, sounds about right.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys must be rookies in radio.
Yeah.
Nope. Just putting family first, boss.
Oh, Butchie knows a thing about that, too.
Yes, he does.
Come on, Butch.
Well, the long ball didn't work for Bucky.
No.
This we know, and they talked about it on Friday. You'd much expect us to talk about it today. Upon return, Josh from Disney, myself from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Whew, got a real – thanks for playing the audio of my snow video, too. I'm keeping an eye on things.
Oh, you did, huh?
Little karma.
Well, I appreciated the audio.
So dumb. As soon as it's stupid. Can I tell you how difficult it is to return after a snowstorm like that? I mean, 27 inches my house got, and there's grass.
Yeah.
It's a very weird feeling.
It feels like you've been gone a lot longer than you were.
Sure that it snowed that much, guys? Was it really that bad?
Oh, don't ask that. Don't say that.
It was. How was your vacation before we play catch up?
It was great. It was absolutely amazing. That trip that we take always is. Everyone was covered. Everyone had a blast. We'll get into it.
Cool. All right, then. Let's play catch up.
Packers.
I saw that they rescheduled Bob Harlan's celebration of life, #snowstorm of the century last week. So it is today at Lambeau Field. It runs from 3:30 to 5 o'clock Central Time. The family will have some brief remarks at 4 p.m. I'm glad they did that. They needed to, because I think there's going to be a lot more people there than they realize.
I hope there are. I'll tell you that. I hope that a lot of people show up, but it definitely gives those people the opportunity to show up when you just say, hey, this isn't something we got to do today. Let's just push it back a week.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. Did you also see while we were out, or at least while I was out, I don't know what day it hit, the Packers announced their coaching staff for the 2026 season?
Yeah, that was when I was out as well. Yeah, officially official.
We'll break that down as we get closer. There's a lot of time between now and when the first workout happens at the beginning part of May.
Sure is.
I have some questions, and I don't know that we'll have any answers, frankly.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Kind of. But it's also the optimist in me goes, okay, let's just actually real quick. Can we just talk about why we didn't make a change at the offensive line? Is Butkus really the guy? Like, is that?
No, he's not. I don't know. I don't know why not.
When Larrabee came on the Inside Wisconsin podcast, Josh, I thought of you, and he said, whoever thinks they're running it back is absolutely stupid, or whatever it was. I was like, ugh, kind of feeling like they're running it back.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I understand not everything's exactly the same, but it sure seems like that's the mentality. Yeah. We'll have to have Wayne on. I'll talk to him about that.
Brewers. Back. Baseball is back. The week is upon us. Opening day on Thursday, we learned that The Miz is the starter, not Woody. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think we all kind of saw that coming once people kept getting picked off by the injury bug, right? It was I did not expect Woody to be back and them to be confident in him being the starter once they announced that might not happen. And then when Quinn Priester had his problem, I went, okay, well, he's clearly not going to be there. So it just made sense at that point that it was Miz. I don't love that was kind of how they came to that conclusion, that it was going to be Miz. But hey, you're up, kid. Let's go. Give him a show.
It does feel icky that he's not ready. And his velocity was really down the last time he pitched. And yet they wrote him a big fat check.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried about him, though.
Why, though? Why aren't you?
Because he's young, he's got electric stuff, and I expect him to produce. Also, how he finished.
Wait a minute. We're talking about Woody or the Miz?
Oh, I'm talking about Miz.
I'm talking about
you
Woody.
You were talking about Woody. No, Woody I'm worried about. Yeah. Woody I'm worried about because I just because of how long it's quote unquote taken him to recover in the past. Things that seem to be like, yeah, this will have him on the 30-day IL, and then 4 months later, he's starting a rehab stint. And it's like, oh God. Okay. So yeah, I do worry about Woody a little bit. And I'm telling you, we're managing expectations there. Absolutely.
So how many innings does the Miz go, and what does that look
question.
like?
There's the question.
7:25. We're going to get into this. The Miz is starting on Thursday, so let's start there with the starting pitcher and just kind of break it down on how we think this is going to go for him and the Brewers and ultimately the rotation. What does that look like and so on? But nonetheless, it is finally here. The MLB opens this week. The Brewers open on Thursday at home for a change.
And speaking of at home, how do you feel about spring training at home? The Reds playing baseball against the Brewers at American Family Field tonight, 6:40. The games that don't count, just kind of like, all right, let's make sure everything works at American Family Field. All the people that make the sausages and sell you the
normal.
pennants. Yeah.
It's a soft open.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
I think it's great. Listen, especially if you can't be there Thursday, you get to go see some baseball now. Let's go.
On to the Badgers.
Badgers.
So let's touch on this whole final play thing. We're going to do it again, and I have questions, but at the end of the day, that was very confusing. I mean, the Badgers are what they are in the tournament. If any of us are really surprised that the Badgers lost in the first round, like, hello, what about this program has told you in the Greg Gard era, but specifically over the last, let's just say 5 years, what part of this has told you that they're going to make a deep run in the tournament? History hasn't.
Right. The potential has always been there. Also, you look at the fact that, and we talked about this when we had Mike Heller on last week, but they were the lowest ranked 5 seed, right? So in comparison to the other 5 seeds, they had the most difficult 5-12 matchup. It was down to the wire, like those games usually are, and they ended up losing to High Point. High Point becomes that Cinderella story through that first day of March Madness. And now you go, okay, so Greg Gard, question mark. You bringing him back, I assume. I mean, all the polls came out. He's not going anywhere. Sure as heck doesn't seem like he's going anywhere, which will then mean that he's coaching next year for the 10th year in a row without a Sweet 16 appearance. Hot seat. That is a hot seat.
If Luke Fickell's keeping his job at UW, so too is Greg Gard. I think if there's going to be a change, it's the entire ship on the men's side of the things, including the athletic director.
Yeah, that very well could be. And I don't know why it's so different. I just feel like saying, well, you have a good team and you haven't been in the Sweet 16 in 9 years, in comparison to, well, you have a good team and now you haven't been there in a decade, changes like the mentality of the program. It's like next year they need to make it, or I don't think Gard's here.
So they went to the Sweet 16, and again, we'll cover this in a little bit here, but 15, 16, and then 16, 17. And it's kind of been a dumpster fire ever since then. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but is that where we're at? Like, oh, yay, Bucky made the tournament again. Can't take that for granted, especially in the NIL edge. Over it.
Mm-hmm.
Not over hockey. Listen to this.
Face off won by Ohio State. They'll fire it down. John goes back. It's a great day for hockey. It's a great day for your 9th national championship.
9 national championships.
9 times.
And again, last night, for the 9th time, the University of Wisconsin women's hockey team are the national champions of hockey. I believe that call, ESPN, John Buccigross, I know that was in the booth. Listen, that team's special with some special players. What a hell of a month, Josh. Layla Edwards, Caroline Harvey, Ava McNaughton, Kirsten Sims. Just chomping on medal gold a month ago and now holding a trophy for the national championship.
Literally all they do is win, no matter what.
Part of me thought that you were going to play Freebird a little bit this morning, but it's just not.
I thought about it, but no. And then I thought, is that becoming a thing for me to like enjoy hockey? I needed them to have like goal songs. Is that making the sport for me? I don't know.
It's fun to listen to, though. Fun to watch. Fun to just be a Badger. It's a good day to be a Badger. Tough one for the basketball team, but I mentioned this on a different hit I do in the morning on one of the stations here in Green Bay. Josh, I was at a men's basketball game some time ago. 2 years ago, I want to say, maybe 3. And they played this video. Forgive me if I told this story here, but they played this video and picture like a drone shot of Madison and the Union and the Kohl Center and the Field House and Camp Randall. And the woman narrator is going, welcome to Wisconsin, where we have this many championships and this many titles and this many blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, all the audio stopped and there was a black screen. And the female voice goes, oh, you thought we were talking about men's sports. Boom.
Yeah.
That's where this hockey team is at. And that's where women's athletics is at the University of Wisconsin for the most part. Fun to watch.
True.
Agonizing if you did watch it. 2-0 heading into the third period. And then all of a sudden, blink 2-2. And I'm like, really? Really?
Had to keep it entertaining.
Congrats to them and the rest of the team on the 9th title, 2 in a row. And I believe that is 3 out of 4 meetings that we've had with Ohio State in the championship game where the Badgers have been on the good side. I may or may not have tweeted that tears of Buckeyes filled my cup of joy.
Yeah. Who doesn't love seeing that?
I love seeing that. Somebody was like, oh, grown men talking about tears. And, come on. Sports. Sports. Are the Bucks sports?
Yeah.
Bucks.
How you doing?
It's almost done.
Is that where we're at?
That's exactly where I'm at. Is that I'm literally looking at the schedule going, all right, we're almost there. And to what, I don't know. But it's been a really, really tough last month, 2 months in comparison to, I mean, it's been bad the majority of the season, but it's been really tough the last month, 2 months. I'm just like, okay, we're almost there. Whatever's going to happen next, we're going to get there. Just let's keep going. Just keep fighting through. It'll be done soon.
Okay, no, now answer my question. How you doing? You know what I'm talking about. I wasn't talking about the Bucks season or their win-loss record.
I mean, I'm still in the same spot. I'm well aware that there's a very good chance that that Giannis could be traded. You know, they came out with the most obvious statement owner of a professional sports franchise could ever make by saying, yeah, hey, if Giannis doesn't sign the Supermax, we're going to trade him. No way. Really? That's crazy. So, and then, you know, of course, all the national media took that as, see, so Giannis is gone. Maybe, but no different than when Shams lied the last time. I'm sitting here going, yep, let me know when it's official. And then I'll grieve. Then we'll get there. But I'm not going to start anything until it happens.
We'll dive a little deeper at 7:45 to give you an opportunity to kind of I'm not sure the Bucks can even think about keeping Giannis at this point. I have my reasons.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have at 7:45 to check in on all things Bucks. They play at the Clippers tonight, 9:30 our time, also known as bedtime.
Yeah, correct.
Anything else?
Anything else?
Yeah, my Phoenix took one on the chin on Friday night. The women's side of the bracket, they were playing at Minnesota, which, pause, I have questions. Why in the women's side of the bracket do teams get home games?
That is
Any thoughts
interesting.
on that?
You'd think money would say put them all in one place, but maybe not. I don't have the stats or the analytics behind it, but my guess would be money.
After further review. Oh, yeah, money. Got it.
Yep.
Minnesota 75, the Phoenix 58. Here's the problem. After the first quarter, the Phoenix were up 11-10. At halftime, the Phoenix were up 29-26. After 3 quarters, the Phoenix again outscored Minnesota in the third. And they take a lead going into the fourth, and it's like, okay, ladies, dig deep. We got this. One more quarter. Nope.
Can't do it.
30-9.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter.
Yep, finishing. It's important. And that's where you usually see the problems when you look at seedings. It's which team can keep it. When you look at upsets, a lot of times it's the fourth quarter. That's where they either pull away or it's going to be a showdown.
And that's really the difference between Big Ten basketball in this case and Horizon League basketball. It's always the fourth quarter. In sports, it's always the fourth quarter. It's always the second half of the second half. And for Minnesota to score 30 and the Phoenix only scored 9, I don't know if that means they got hot and we went just completely cold, but that is a differential that I don't think you see in a normal game. But nonetheless, our team that was still playing in the NCAA tournament here in Wisconsin fell on Friday night, 75-58.
Mm-hmm. So that means, am I correct in saying that the NCAA runs for the state of Wisconsin are now all done?
I believe Oshkosh at the Division III level is still in it for a national championship.
Okay.
We'll have to do a little bit of research on that. But, I mean, at the Division I level, yeah, it's over. Good run.
It's over, Johnny. Womp, womp, womp. Hey, March Madness still a thing.
That's what I was just about to say. But the rest of the bracket still continues on. So who are you watching now? And how do you feel about March Madness in general? For me, this bracket is pretty much meaningless between now and whenever the Badgers play again or Marquette starts up their season. I do find it annoying, and we'll get to this and I have questions. What is up with the Big Ten? There was 8 teams in the tournament to start it. There are still 6 teams in the tournament in the Sweet 16. The only 2 not, ironically, Wisconsin and Ohio State. What? Was the Big Ten really that good this year?
Apparently.
That's part of the question. Plus, we got to listen. Josh and I weren't here last week. That's not your fault. But we are going to take a minute to talk about what in the ever-living whatever that last play was for the Wisconsin Badgers basketball game, because I have questions. A lot of them. Good thing we have an entire segment dedicated to that. That's coming up next. The Nicolay Law talk and text line, 414-677-1250. Josh, let's peruse here for just a moment and see how people are doing on a Monday morning after the opening weekend. Not well.
No,
people aren't.
No, it definitely seems like a Monday. We're all like, woo, hey, we're back. Everyone's like, yeah, we had the snow and the Badgers lost. Okay. All right. Hey, well, we got some stuff we're going to talk about.
The 715.
Go ahead.
This is Wisconsin sports. We always choke. And yes, I am bitter. LOL.
Yeah.
All right. We'll answer that question, I guess. And whatever else you guys come up with in the I Have Questions portion of the show. It feels good to be back, Wisconsin. Thanks for keeping the seats warm from Tommy and from Tim, who joins us later in the show. It is good to be back, refreshed from vacay until that alarm went off at 4. And it's like, oh, no. Not refreshed. Still tired.
I was ready. I was amped.
Good to be back. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Good morning, Wisconsin. Baseball season starts Thursday in Milwaukee. It's the last edition of Hot Stove Weekly coming up on Wednesday night. Join Tim Allen and Tommy Wartz at Rally House Mayfair there in Milwaukee as they broadcast live starting at 5 Wednesday night here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht inside Wisconsin Sports, back in the saddle again on a Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Feels good to be back from vacay. Somebody on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, 414-677-1250, says, Trevor and Josh, where'd you watch the Badger game Thursday?
That's a good question.
Here's the answer. Oh, wait, no. That's because this is I Have Questions.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. All right, Josh, where'd you watch the game?
I watched it in a hotel room on a gigantic TV with 3 other TVs, gigantic TVs right next to them, and then a smaller TV.
How'd you do that?
We had a March Madness party, which we're going to get to.
Did people take their TVs out of their own hotel rooms?
Oh, we took them out of hotel rooms. We brought them in from people's houses. It was incredible.
I have questions.
Mm-hmm.
We'll recap our week of non-work coming up in the morning mind dump and share some stories. But to answer this question, Josh watched it in a hotel room. I watched it at Puckers with a P, which I said I was going to do.
Yep.
It was great. We got there at 11. The games were on. We very much persuaded the manager at Puckers there in Gatlinburg to put the Badger game on one of the biggest TVs because he said, no, there's a lot of people that want to come in and watch Duke. And I'm like, do you really? A 116. That's the one. That's the one.
And then that game ended up being like really, really good too.
But 3 Wisconsin fans tables later,
oh, there
we're
you
like,
go.
all right, bud. We understand we can't have all the things, but can we just have that one thing there?
Give us that one.
It was fun. After that game, knowing the way it ended, and that's one of the questions we have to answer here this morning is what was that last play? My wife says, why don't you guys go and do one of those whiskey tasting things? There's a couple of them that offer, like 12 mini shots for $5 or whatever. Mind you, I had been sitting in Puckers since 11 o'clock. And so the Badger game ended, I don't know what time. Eastern. I was over in the Eastern time zone. So let's just say late afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then Eastern time, I think it started at like 1:50.
Yeah. And then she sends us to go and do these sample shots. I'll let you guess how the rest of the story plays out after the Badger game on Thursday night.
Yeah. Probably don't remember a lot of it.
Hoy. I was hoping to forget all of it.
Yeah.
And one thing I can't get out of my head is this final play. And listen, I know there's already been a couple texts. I've already moved on from the Badger game. Talk about something else. And no, we have to talk about this final play. Josh and I weren't here on Friday. We want your answers, frankly, as to what that was. And so here's my original take, and I really want your feedback, Josh, as well as the state of Wisconsin. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. We talked all season about the Killer Bees. Both Killer Bees were wide open on that last play, but instead, we decided to chuck it the length of the court.
Sure. How much time was left?
2 something?
Okay. That's not a lot of time, period. You need to get the ball, unless you're saying you're just going to hope it for a half court. Like, are you saying that's what you wanted it to be? It's the defense can collapse quick on a full court pass to anyone. And so 2 seconds is not a lot of time. To me, it all happened.
1.8. Yep. 1.8.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially by that point, I was like, the game's already over. 1.8 is literally going to be the stunner of all stunners if they find a way to get this in. It was either going to be a one-arm chuck, full court heave, or it was going to be exactly what they tried to do, and that didn't work either. But they lost that game before that play. That was the time might as well have all expired when they had 1.8 left on the clock.
Would you rather, though, have somebody like Nick Boyd catch it mid-court, wide open, turn around, take one dribble, and make a, 2/3 length court shot with two hands and see what happens versus throwing it the entire length of the floor? That's the part I don't get.
I'm saying I don't know that with 1.8 and them having to get it. Like, I don't know that he gets that time without someone in his face.
Unfortunately, the play recording, the video, would tell us otherwise. And that's the crappy part about this, is that's the question.
Yeah.
We had both of those guys with the opportunities, and Greg Gard shared, and we'll hear it in the 8 o'clock hour, that those were options, but they just decided not to take those. That's really the most questioning part about the whole thing. Was we had these two guys that were the dudes all year, and then we don't give them, one of those two, the ball. Granted, as far away from the hoop as it was, but they're not the ones that touch it last. I just thought that was pretty obvious.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, where was Blackwell, like, down the stretch? It was all Nick Boyd.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like that's the thing that gets me, is like, it was still, they shouldn't have been in that position. They shouldn't have been there. They literally, they lost the game before that decision. And so for me personally, do whatever you want. It was going to be a hope and a prayer regardless.
The other question we have is, how's March Madness playing out for you? And what do you do now? So for me, hello, Inside Wisconsin. That's the name of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much out now. I don't care. However, I have questions about the Big Ten. 6 of the 8 teams still that were in the tournament to begin are still in from the Big Ten. Nebraska, coming out of nowhere, hadn't won a tournament game in something like 25 years.
No,
now they're in the
this
Sweet
is
16.
This was like their first win, like, ever. And now they're going, like, it was like insane stats for Nebraska.
And now they're in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. And then,
so are you still watching? Like, how diligent are you on watching the games? I had them on, don't get me wrong. And I watched the ends and how awesome they still are. I'm a basketball guy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to watch the tournament. I just don't have any skin in the game anymore. My bracket's completely effed.
Yeah. Well, and I love, so the way that I've always viewed the tournament is, the second that my team's out, let the chaos begin. I want the most chaos. I don't care if it affects my bracket. Bust it. Bust mine. Bust everybody's. Give me those Cinderellas, those buzzer beaters. And I'm in. I'm still into the tournament. I love the fact that in the Sweet 16, you have an 11 seed, a 9 seed, a 6 seed. Like, I love that. I absolutely love that. It's not, last night we saw Iowa upset Florida. Our first 1 seed falls. I'm a big fan of that, and I still follow the tournament. Honestly, I usually follow it until the Final Four. Then when it comes down to the Final Four and it's 1s and 2s, then I go, okay, yep. And then it plays out exactly how it's supposed to. And by that point, then I'm on to opening day in baseball. And so I love the tournament. It usually gets me to opening day of baseball anyway. But I'm when you analyze and you look at the 16 teams that are left, for the most part, besides maybe Iowa and Texas, you can look at those and I guess in Nebraska, and you could say, yeah, that doesn't necessarily surprise me. Those are schools that are there.
So who wins it? 16 teams left, and you like the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you picking at this point? I'll pick one as well.
Well, I took Arizona in my bracket, my official bracket.
Oh,
my Final Four was Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Houston, which can still happen. I always take 3 1s and a 2. And I took Houston as the 2. So Final Four can still happen, but I think that's how it plays out.
It's fun to watch Iowa do so well. There's a Horizon League connection to all of the amazingness that's happening with Iowa. Alvaro Fulguskus.
Excuse me?
Yeah, exactly. I said his name 1,000 times. He came from the Horizon League and went to Iowa. He hit the game-winning shot for Iowa the other night. Fun to watch. A lot of Big Ten action. You got to pick one of those teams, although St. John's looks ridiculous.
Yeah, they do. And it's just that's the funny thing, is that, like, you see St. John's in there, and you see Arkansas, but really what you're seeing is the same legendary coaches, just at different teams. You got Pitino with St. John's, you got Calipari with Arkansas, you got Izzo still in there, you got Hurley still in there. So it's like, okay, these guys are still like that. That's when you're filling out your bracket, you should be just looking at like, yeah, these guys just don't lose in the tournament.
That's going to be a fun one to watch Friday night. Michigan State versus UConn.
Oh, absolutely.
You want to talk about two coaches going up against each other that are ballistic. That's the perfect matchup for all the fireworks to happen. There's numerous Wisconsin connections still, by the way. Nate Oates, head coach of Alabama from Watertown, Wisconsin. They're still in it. They play Michigan Friday evening, late afternoon and evening. It's alive and well. A lot of brackets, though, are busted. The 920 just texted in on the Nicolay Law Talking text line, 414-677-1250, and said, Florida ruined my bracket. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The 920 says, I wasn't a fire guard guy until Iowa beat Florida, a team we crushed by 30 points, and they end up in the Sweet 16. That can't happen.
So I will say the only thing that's kind of a bummer is that about the tournament is that you have this weekend, these 4 days, which are so awesome. And now you have nothing until Thursday. Well, Thursday's opening day. And so you have today, tomorrow, Wednesday of nothing. And then it all comes back. I wish that they would continue. I wish that it was maybe you take today off, but then you start it back up on Tuesday.
Money, buddy.
I know it's always money, but I'm saying as a fan, man, don't let it cool off. Keep that heat streak going. Give me more basketball.
Texas and Purdue are the ones that kick it off on Thursday. And then we go. Thursday games are Texas, Purdue, Iowa, Nebraska, Arizona, and Arkansas. And then the late one, Illinois and Houston. 4-4. That's 16. I was told there would be no math. So you might be surprised to hear that my bracket has exploded. I, for years now, have chosen Wisconsin to win it because, by golly, it's going to happen. Always. Always. From a kid on. When I was a child. Badgers.
Yeah. Okay. So you just filled the one bracket.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
No. Oh, no.
I do two. I do two brackets.
Okay.
I do a fun one, and I do a realistic one. And in the realistic one, I had the Badgers going to the Sweet 16 and then losing to Arizona. They didn't make it that far.
They didn't make it anywhere.
Right.
Other than off the team bus, which is so annoying. The final goal is the most electrifying sound. If you missed it last night, the Badgers are national champions for the second year in a row, 9 overall. The women's hockey team bringing home the national championship trophy to Madison. We'll play the game-winning goal, plus get your feedback from all things March Madness, where you stand, how are your brackets. Do we still compare brackets? Like, hey, how's your bracket? How you doing? How's your bracket?
Oh, I still ask people. It's not as bad as fantasy football when people go like, let me talk to you about my fantasy football team. I mean, it's kind of close. It's just like, it's fun to say like, yeah, my bracket got busted. It's the guy that walks around the office and goes, yeah, I totally had Iowa in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Totally knew it. I'm like, oh yeah, you did? Good.
Right.
Good for you, bud. No one cares.
Do you still print them off and fill them out by hand?
I do. I'm a big paper bracket guy.
Yeah.
I love the paper bracket.
Have to. And I print one off that has nothing to do with my bracket anymore, just so I can look at the updates. But we went to, we were in Tennessee and went to a UPS store. And we're like, hey, we need to print off some brackets. And they looked at us like we had foreheads. What do you mean you need to print off a bracket? NCAA, well, it's all digital now. Yeah. We even printed like a poster size one up and hung it in the house. And
yeah.
Fun.
Man, I love that.
Always in pencil, though.
Absolutely.
Always in pencil.
Yep.
The most electrifying sound of the day is next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Hey, Wendy's has the official Dunks of March Madness, which means you get the iconic chocolate frosty paired with fries. It's the perfect opportunity to dunk crispy, salty fries into a decadent chocolate frosty. It gets even better because when you order from the official Dunks menu, you'll automatically be entered for a chance to win a variety of prizes during March Madness. Order from the official Dunks menu today. Download the Wendy's app for the official Dunks menu and for a chance to win big this March Madness.
It's time for
The most electrifying
sound of the day
The most electrifying
on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Down the wall, and here comes Enright to the net, walks in, oh, it's goal! Claire Enright! She's been great all game, and she gets it to go, and she gives the Badgers a 3-2 lead with 6:18 to go.
And Claire Enright's final goal for the Badgers' 9th national championship, courtesy of ESPNU, is the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress. Connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. Man, I love playing highlights, Trevor, of Wisconsin teams winning national championships.
Yeah, let's do more of that.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
I know that there's a lot of people who are like, Wisconsin sports are going to kill me. We got one of these texts earlier from the 262. Badgers, Bucks, Brewers, all bad. Code blue, this person says.
Yeah.
Not across the board, though. And if you really want to watch and get into Wisconsin sports, there's a lot of really good things happening. I understand specifically the Big Four have been a disappointing bunch for some time now. But I want to know what the 80s and 90s were like, or maybe even the 70s. Now, granted, the Brewers did what they did. By the way, watched/listened to Just a Bit Outside on the way home.
Yeah.
Dude, great movie. I've seen it before, but I never sat through it the entire way. Hashtag ADHD. That'll get you fired up. And why not this year for the Milwaukee Brewers?
I mean, that's the question. I will say I understand the frustration from this texter, and we appreciate all the texts coming in on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. But it really just comes down to crunch time. No? Like, tell me that you're not, besides the Bucks this year, tell me when in recent history you haven't been along for the ride through the Big Four season. You're watching the Badgers get to the NCAA tournament. You're invested then. It's just then you're disappointed when they lose. You're watching the Packers play their seasons. It's just then they get into the playoffs and then they lose. You're watching the Brewers. I mean, this last season was different. The Brewers went on a run, but that's been more of the story. I don't know that you could say that all the teams stink. They just, when the pressure's on and it's playoff time, they choke. They fold.
But the playoffs aren't good enough anymore. That's the problem.
Sure.
The Brewers making the playoffs, not good enough anymore. The Packers having these wild card playoff appearances, not good enough anymore. The Badgers simply making it to the NCAA tournament, not good enough. The Bucks are expected to do bigger things, but it hasn't always been that way. And that's the confusing part about our sports fandom. Now, you've all seen the graphics that show how bad the losses have been for teams in Wisconsin for years.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that hurts. It's
right.
Not so much the championships that we haven't won. It seems to be the way these teams go out. It's probably a good topic of conversation for later in the week as we start another Brewers season on Thursday. What is the way that's acceptable for these seasons to end? Is it literally championship or bust? Is that where we're at? Because that's a big pill to swallow, man.
100%. If that's the only way that you're going to be happy, you're going to be disappointed a lot because it's very difficult to win it all. And then it becomes, okay, so is it because they lose in like a nail biter fashion, or is it because they get blown out? Which one's worse? Is that what's making it worse? Is it the expectation going in? Is it because they were supposed to win it all and then they didn't? Like there's a whole lot of therapy sessions that could be built around this.
Well, so that's interesting, right? Because let's just say the Bucks, well, they're not going to. Let's just say they were going to squeak in Well, they weren't supposed to win it all.
Right.
The Badgers at a 5 seed, they're not supposed to win it all. The Packers going in at the wild card, they're not supposed to win it all. The Brewers, they're supposed to win it all last year with that record. Although anybody that was truth in their fandom watched the way that season ended and went, we're not going to win it all.
Right. Well, but I do think that that's part of it is the expectation. Because to your point, this Badgers team, no one was saying, a few people were, but many people weren't saying that this Badgers team was supposed to win it all. It was, all right, this is the Badgers team that's good enough to get to the Sweet 16. They're probably not going to get past Arizona, right? So that was the benchmark. That was what they needed. And then they didn't even get to the game to make it to the Sweet 16. That's that disappointment. It's not, well, they didn't win, the whole thing. They didn't win March Madness. No, they didn't even get to the Sweet 16. That's the frustration, is we set our expectations and then they fail. The question is, what are our expectations?
Well, winning when you're supposed to, that's an expectation. And so when it's a 5-12, that's the expectation. You're supposed to win. The Brewers were supposed to win that series against the Cubs. They weren't supposed to win that series against the Dodgers, no matter the record of the seed. The Packers maybe are supposed to win as a wild card, but not really. The hard part comes along the schedule, though. Let's just look back to Badgers basketball this year. They were supposed to beat Ohio State. They were supposed to beat Oregon. They weren't supposed to beat Michigan State or Illinois or any of the other ranked teams that they ended up getting a win in. Look at the Packers season. We were supposed to beat the Browns and didn't. But then there were other games where we weren't necessarily supposed to be in those, and we were.
But that, and that's why it becomes frustrating. When the Packers had all those injuries, and then they couldn't, that you went into the game going, they're injury prone. They're not going to be in this game. And then they have a lead. And then you're going, okay, never mind. Look at this team. And then they lose in an epic fashion.
Right.
And you go, why? Like, I didn't think we would win, but then we should have won, and then we didn't. That's the frustration.
The 262, were the Badgers supposed to lose to 4 double-digit seeds in the last 7 years? No.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sure there were a lot of 5-12 upsets this year, though, right?
But we wouldn't be.
No.
No.
There's just the one. Yeah.
Would we be saying that, though, if the Badgers were the 12 and lost? No. Because that wasn't the expectation. So maybe we put these on ourselves, but the seeding kind of tells the story that if you're going in at a 5, you're supposed to be the 12. Even though there's always someone, although this year was pretty chalky for the most part, except for that game.
Mm-hmm.
So is Greg Gard on the hot seat? It's a conversation in the 7 o'clock hour, plus the Malott Meats morning mind dump. Lots to catch up on our time out last week, some stories to share from vacation, lots of games to cover. We missed the snow. Josh had a March Madness party in a hotel room, and there are more questions and more things we got to get off our chest and out of our heads. We'll do that next. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. The Malott Meats morning mind dump is next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
This is Gavin Ludolph. Waves, elevates, buries it. 2.4 away. Oh, he got it. Ortega away has just etched his name in the March Madness lore. Bing, no! Rebound to Sanford. Final 8 seconds. Fred Hoiberg's going to let him play it out. Frager! Timeout! 2.2 to go. And this place is in a frenzy. This is going to be Darling. He's got to go. Darling puts it up. St. John's is going to the Sweet 16. Lee across midcourt. Lee speeding toward the basket. Lee leaves it underneath. That's it! Iowa, for the first time since 1999, will head to the Sweet 16.
Well, those are awesome mashups when they don't include anything Wisconsin related, aren't they? Happy Monday. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. March Madness alive and well, just not for us anymore. Inside Wisconsin Sports, Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's probably where I land, man. Like, I don't want to. The tournament without Wisconsin for me sucks. And granted, all of those moments that you just played from TBS and True TV and CBS and Elemental Ps, they're great. I love them. I can't wait to see more of them. It's awesome. And I'm annoyed.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you: do you enjoy those moments more, as just even if Wisconsin doesn't? They're just one of the teams. You still enjoy them more because your team's still playing. Is that it? Is it salt in the wound?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm certainly more dialed in. Does that make sense? Like, I'm interested in all of the games when Wisconsin is still in it.
Sure.
And now that Wisconsin's out of it, I have the games on. I'm aware when the games are close, like last night.
Yeah.
But I also am like, man, oh, that was a great ending. Oh, that's going to be a great piece of audio. Oh, that was an awesome, what a shot. And then I go to bed. You know what I mean? Not like, all right, what does that mean for Wisconsin?
I think that's why I love the tournament so much, because that's the only event that doesn't happen to me for. When the Packers get eliminated, I cannot, don't you dare put on ESPN. I don't want to see, no.
I'm all in.
See, no, but the tournament, I don't know. The tournament's different for me. I want to enjoy it.
Well, whether it's first round exits that you got to get off your chest because you really didn't really take the time to process it over the weekend, which so many of you apparently on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line fall into 414-677-1250, or you've got stories from vacation, or you stepped in it along the weekend. You just got to get some things off your chest and out of your head to start your week. We have great news. We're a safe place. And we present to you the Malott Meats Morning Mind Up. Here we go.
I have voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
The coffee is kicked in. We're awake and ready to roll. Let's get some things off our chest and out of our heads.
You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We've got no food, we've got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
It's time for the Morning Mind Dump, presented by Malott Meats. High-quality meats at a fair price, safely delivered to your front door. To learn more, visit WisconsinMeatMarket.com. Experience the power of the family meal with Malott Meats on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Turns out, high-quality meats, fair price, delivered to my door in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, too.
Look at that.
Made a pickup before we left. And all of the meat was absolutely frozen and alive and well, if you will, once we arrived in Gatlinburg. It was awesome. WisconsinMeatMarket.com, the Malott Meats, Morning Mind Dump. Ziggy on the Nicolay Law talking text line, 414-677-1250, says Scotty wins its 9th natty on Sunday. He's talking about the Wisconsin women's hockey team winning its 9th national championship yesterday against Ohio State. And you guys lead with NCAA basketball? Come on, guys.
Oh, Ziggy, you must just gotten in your car.
Thanks for joining us, Ziggy.
Yeah.
Appreciate you listening.
We
We
only talked
mentioned
about
it
it
every
the
single
whole
segment, the
hour.
entire hour. We played the final call. We played the game-winning goal.
Welcome to the show, Zig.
Appreciate you coming back. Happy Monday, buddy. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law talk and text line. So we've got a number of things to cover here, including angst. Many a person has angst in regards to Greg Gard and where the Wisconsin basketball program is. There's some angst coming in, Josh. I'm sure you saw about Green Bay and CJ O'Hara going into the transfer portal, along with Caden Wilkins, two of the starters that were on the Phoenix team this year, off into transfer land. There's some people dropping Chris McIntosh's name, which is why I think Greg Gard is safe, because if Luke Fickell didn't get canned, why in the world do you think Greg Gard is going to get canned? But that's a topic for the next hour, Ziggy. Tune in then.
Yeah, try to stick around if you can. We will get to some of your vent sessions here, though, in the morning mind dump. The 608 says, I feel Gard deserves some criticism due to the dry spell, but some out there say, quote unquote, if you don't think Gard is a great coach, you're an idiot. And at this point, I've seen enough. I think it's fair to start asking the question, can Gard elevate this program to a higher level than what it currently is? Listen, this is a great topic and debate just in regards to college athletics, right? And for a while, the argument was, okay, but if the Badgers are winning the Big Ten, or if they're winning the Big Ten tournament and then not getting to where they're supposed to in the NCAA tournament, are you still saying what was a great year? This year, you can't say either. They didn't win either. The highlight for this Badgers team was they beat multiple top 10 teams throughout the season. That was it. That's what it gave you hope of what they could be. But then they weren't.
It's a great strategy.
It's a terrible strategy. Hope is not a strategy. And they proved it. And the Badgers proved it.
Well, okay, so then with Greg Gard, do we just hope it turns around?
That's it. That's what I'm saying. And that, I think, kind of goes into what someone else said here, if I can find it. The 843 on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line said he shouldn't be there, but McIntosh is scared to ruin two programs, so he won't fire him. So he's essentially saying, hey, listen, he's not going to, in response to you about blowing it up, this is saying it's not going to be both at the same time. And so too much of the focus is on the football program that is literally helping Greg Gard maybe save his job.
Do you think that the whole ship is going to go down with those three dudes on it? Is it going to be Chris McIntosh, Luke Fickell, Greg Gard all at once? Which would be a lot, by the way. That's a lot to process.
I just think it's so interesting how important the tournament and tournament success is to a Power 5 school. Like when we were down in the dumps about the Packers and the Bucks, we were like, but Greg Gard, remember all the fire Greg Gard people? Where are those people now? Look at Greg Gard. Look at this Badger basketball program. Let's go. And then they get upset, 5-12 upset in the tournament, and all the fire Greg Gard people go, oh, yeah, baby, we're back. It's our time. Where's our microphones? Let's get our thumbs all warmed up to tweet out. And they all came flooding back, all because they lost one game. Before that game, no one was sitting there. No one was saying that. The tournament holds a lot of weight.
So this is Greg Gard's 11th season, 10th tournament, #COVID. Made the Sweet 16 in the first two seasons. Okay, now pause. Remember how Greg Gard got the job. Bo Ryan resigned mid-season. Greg Gard was the pseudo replacement in terms of the interim job, and then won the job in his own right after the interview process finished up. Since those teams went to the Sweet 16, the furthest they've gotten is the second round 3 times. There was a first-round exit in 2018 and a first-round exit in 23 and 25. But there was twice during that same tenure that they missed the tournament altogether. That, I think, is worse for Greg Gard than making the tournament and losing first or second round. We can handle that. But during his time, the Badgers missed the tournament twice. And that has not been a thing, not only since 94 when they first went back, but specifically under Bo Ryan, who went 14 seasons in a row. If there's somebody to point a finger at in terms of the problem, it was the Bo Ryan era of Wisconsin basketball. Everything changed. But does Gard get a little grace based on being the head coach of the Badgers when the NIL era showed its face? And we all know where Wisconsin has landed in terms of rank in the Big Ten about the money that they spend in its sports programs.
Yeah. Well, and that does become part of the equation. But Greg Gard has definitely had a long leash. He's also faced a lot of criticism. I mean, the hashtag Fire Gard hashtag has existed for a long time. It's been there. There has been a crowd, and he has fought through that. He has done things to bring people back and be excited about the Badger basketball program. The 920 here on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line says, I wasn't a Fire Gard guy literally until last night when Iowa beat Florida, a team we crushed by 30 points, ends up in a Sweet 16 game. Can't happen. Well, 920, that's exactly how it happens. That's March Madness. They weren't, it's not like Iowa was seated higher than Wisconsin. It's matchups. It's how it plays out. It's who's hot at the right time. And we did say going into this game that it was going to be this Badger team was the biggest question mark. They could either run it, and if they're on fire, look out, they can beat anybody in this tournament. If they're not, I don't know. It's going to be close. And down the stretch, especially, it seemed like it was all Boyd. Blackwell, he wasn't there. You didn't see it. You didn't see guys draining threes like crazy.
I wondered about that when Braden Carrington went on his run.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of put Blackwell in the 3rd or 4th spot, that if he was going to be able to recover from that. The Killer Bees, the problem was Blackwell was non-existent and Braden Carrington didn't do what he was doing. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talking text line.
The 920 here, different 920, wants to get something off his chest, says, yeah, nice to know that High Point was 0-57 against power conferences before that game, before that win over the Badgers. That doesn't
the 3-pointers that cat made against the Badgers did not fall for him in game 2. Did you see that? High Point was in the game, along for the ride, could have easily won, and none of those 3-pointers fell. So instead, it's Arkansas against Arizona, but they were in it. They were in it till the end.
Also, did you see that the whole story about that kid's first 2-point make of the season is to win? And then someone pointed out in the post game saying it should have been a travel too. He took an extra step, and I went, it's rubbing salt in the wound because I know it won't be.
Of that. Did you see that? There was a lot of that over the weekend of all the non-calls.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, that's like a thing. 715 wants to vent morning mind up a little bit about us here. Says, I like how you guys always give props to the Big Four sports, and then when they don't win, you always go back to how was it back when? We don't care. We just want them to win now. Well, yeah, us too. That's why we're trying to find a way to relate, because we're all so frustrated that they're not winning now.
Thanks for making our point. But that's honestly the comparison. And it's part of the things we got to get off our chest. Is it us? Are we the problem? Are the fans the problem? If you look back in different eras of sports in Wisconsin, you can easily tell a tale of how frustrating it is to be a Wisconsin sports fan, because we seem to always get to the dance, but then we just stand there with a cocktail in our hand by ourselves. So what do we want, and what's acceptable and what's not? We know what we want. We want championships. We want a World Series more than anything ever.
Yeah,
we want a World Series.
That's number one and has been number one.
But is the NLCS acceptable? Was last year's run acceptable?
This is why I'm saying I think that it's not the same. It's not a blanket statement across the whole state. You can't make it that. Expectations are different going into every season for every team. Until the Badgers make it to the Sweet 16, that's the benchmark. That's what needs to be cleared, right? That's the line. The Brewers, what was the big thing the Brewers had to do? They had to get out of the first round, right? We were stuck in this Craig Counsell world of being great teams, making it to the postseason, and then losing. And we thought, all right, we're going to do that last year. And then what happened? The Mets, Pete Alonso, crushed our hopes and dreams. Oh, my gosh, was that a killer moment? So that was the line. And the Brewers way exploded past it. At the start of last season, we all said, this Brewers team just needs to win that first series. Then they broke records. They crushed the streak. They gave us an incredible season. And then they went all the way to the NLCS. They exceeded expectations. Were we bummed they didn't win the World Series? Of course. Or make it to the World Series? Of course. But the line, the expectation was, we haven't been to the DS or out of the DS in how many years? We got to do that first. They did it. Now the expectations for this season change. The Packers, right? It was 7 seed. Please, not another 7 seed. 7 seed. Oh, okay. So now we go into this season and we're going, okay, this team has the potential to win the Super Bowl. But I swear, if they're a 7 seed, oh, am I going to be mad? So that's to me the thing that we look at being a fan. Obviously, the goal, what we always hope, if we're using that as a strategy, is always to win it all. But more in my world of realism, there are benchmarks that each team just needs to clear. This year, this Badgers team, they didn't clear that benchmark.
We're typically okay with a reset, too. Not a rebuild. Those are difficult to swallow. But a reset with coaching changes, we've tolerated that pretty well here in Wisconsin. The Bucks maybe is the abnormal piece on that. Josh, any exciting comments, questions, concerns from your vacation, your time in Florida? We saw that you took a picture with a particular person.
Yeah, I did. I listen, we got a lot of stuff. I want to make sure we give it time. We had some great stories. A lot of people saw a photo of me and a bunch of other people watching basketball in a hotel room. I took a picture with the GOAT. And if you're going, oh, Tom Brady? No, the true GOAT. And so I want to get to that. Can we do that in the next segment? Can we do that, or you want to do it here?
We can do it here.
Okay.
We got time. Hey, see that little board in front of you?
Yeah.
You control that.
Oh, that's
good.
right.
We're good. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just cancel that. All right, good. So, listen, trips were awesome. So for the people that are listening that are unaware, for the last 9 years, I have hosted a March Madness party, all based around my oldest son sitting in a chair by himself. It started when he was 6 months old. I propped him up in a recliner, new dad, not having an idea what to do, just wanted to watch basketball. I stuffed all my friends on a couch, put this little baby, propped him up in a recliner, went, that's funny, took a photo. We kept doing that tradition every year. This year we knew we weren't going to be home. And I was like, oh boy, is this going to be the end of the tradition? I was like, no, I know I'm going to have some friends from my shirt nerd group, Roosevelt's, that are going to be down in Orlando where we're tying all this stuff together. I reached out to them, including the owner of the company. I told him the situation. He said, we are in. They bought the presidential suite at this hotel. I had friends literally.
Roosevelt's did?
Yep. I had friends that lived in the area, took TVs off of their walls and brought them into the hotel room to recreate the setup. We literally bought a recliner, which is on its way back to Amazon, and for the photo so that we could recreate that moment, and we did it. And so now the tradition continues, and it was absolutely incredible. It was everything. It was so cool. And so if you're curious of what the heck I'm talking about, you can go to my Twitter at OnAirJosh, and you can see the photo of the last 10 years of us doing that. And it's just very cool that tradition continued. And then the other thing a few people saw, and they're making jokes, hey, Josh, it looks like you took a photo by yourself. I got to meet John Cena at MegaCon, and he is awesome.
Yeah, tell us about that. I mean, like,
just as cool as you think he was. He took time, exactly like the type of composure that you would think that he holds. That's exactly who he is. Who you see on TV, like that's exactly how he interacts with fans. It's how he interacted with like handlers and everyone else. Very polite, very like stand up straight, shaking hands, eye contact, making it seem like if you had 10 seconds with him, he was going to make sure you enjoyed those 10 seconds. And it was very, very awesome. I got to tell him a story of just, and I don't think I've even told this on air, but I actually, so when Julie was pregnant with Jordy, our first kid back in 2016, then 2 months later, we found out my mom had cancer. A month after that, in Green Bay, Wisconsin, at the Resch Center, was Monday Night Raw, and we already had tickets. And I asked my mom, I was like, do you mind if we go? And she was like, yeah, go. So Julie and I went. Cena was there. He hyped up the crowd, and they were selling all of his merch, Never Give Up. And I bought the towel, I bought the hat, brought it home, and that was like a big thing. Mom wasn't supposed to meet Jordy, but I was like, hey, we're not giving up. And, for chemo treatments, I made her wear the hat and everything. And so I got to tell him that story and how she made it. She met him, and then 2 weeks later, she passed away. And he really appreciated the story and hearing all that. And so it was very cool to be able to share that moment with him. And it was a moment I won't forget. And now I have the joke of I took a picture, quote unquote, by myself.
I think what's cool about the story and specifically telling that to John Cena is they appreciate that stuff and don't take it for granted. It's hard, man, when you're in a spot like that. You don't really know the impact you have. You don't. I mean, at a significantly less level, you and I have no idea how many people across the state of Wisconsin are listening to us right now until we're out in public. And they're like, God, love the show. Keep doing what you're doing. Oh, man, this thing that you talked about the other day. Or I'll get a text message from somebody completely random that I haven't talked to in years and going, what? You want Greg Gard fired? Well, I didn't say that. Well, hold on, right? That doesn't get lost on you and I, and it doesn't get old either. And I certainly don't think for a guy like John Cena, who has had stories like that literally worldwide for 2 decades plus, that doesn't get old.
Yeah. Well, and he definitely made it seem like it didn't. And so it was very cool. It was a very great experience. On top of that, got to see baby Jack meet Mickey Mouse for the first time, runs up to him, gives him a hug. That was amazing.
Is that Jack's first time at Disney?
No, it was the first time that like we, since he could like walk and that like he ran to meet Mickey Mouse. Otherwise he was just like the baby. So he's just reaching his toddler era. And so that was awesome. So it was a trip we won't forget, an awesome time all around. Everyone had a blast.
Thursday is going to be an awesome time. Opening day for the Milwaukee Brewers at AmFam Field, and the Miz takes the mound. How do we feel about that? We'll review our expectations on this Monday, filled with disappointments on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. What?
That's not optimism.
Yeah, just realism. See? This is, I don't like it. I'm going back to the world. I don't like it. I'm out. Optimism for me.
treat it like a family. We really do. And our guys are just good guys. They really care about winning, and they care about the community, and they care about each other.
It's pretty special, man. Everybody feels like close friends here. I feel like I'm playing Little League Baseball against them with some friends, so it's fun.
We found out what matters is who's in this room. Tell us whatever the hell you want. What we got in this room, we can do anything we want. A team of so-called who have carried themselves like champions in a city that still remembers the Harvey Wall Panthers of '82. This group has something its own magic. Stick to our standards and have another incredible season. Don't be shocked.
Don't be shocked. There's going to be some merch with that saying on it this year for sure. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, and opening day for the Milwaukee Brewers this Thursday, 1:10 Central, first pitch against those White Sox. And that first pitch will be coming from the hand of one Jacob Mizorowski. Pat Murphy broke the news that he was going to be the starter. In case you hadn't heard it, here's what that audio sounded like from Murph.
He's a nice young talent, obviously gave us great hope the way he finished the season, came into camp, and we think it's a good way to get rolling. Obviously Woody, if 100%, Woody would be in that slot. Traditionally, people like Woody that have, he's our one veteran starter, but Miz is going to step up.
Yeah, he's been, I tell you, the kid is, he's endured a lot because being that guy that gets put on the all-star team after 15 innings or whatever it was, he's endured a lot. He's been pretty seamless, and even though he's had some rough outings, and he'll have some again, he's bounced back pretty good, evident what he did in our playoff playing for the chance to go to the World Series.
So on a morning when we've had a lot of conversation about expectations being disappointments, the Miz gets the ball on Thursday. What should our expectation be, and what is our expectation? Because, Josh, I think it's two different things.
Yeah. I say this every year, and I'll say it again. Please remember that opening day is a celebration of baseball being back. The snow is gone, and listen. Summer and warmth is on the horizon. We are looking forward to shorts all the time and baseball on the radio and on your television and 162 games of Brewers baseball.
Don't know what channel still.
Still don't know what channel. But that's what opening day is. So if the Brewers get clobbered on opening day, it's okay. If they get clobbered in the first 4 games of the season, we learned like last year, it's okay. It's way different than football. They got 162 of these. Enjoy it, baseball being back. For that reason, my only concern or thought in regards to the Miz is, how long do they have him go? Is he going to get to the 4th? Is he going to get to the 5th? Because that's been the one thing kind of missing, right? That we've seen what the Miz can do. We saw at the end of last year his stuff and him being able to be clutch when we need him to be clutch. But I still don't think he's a starter that's going to go 5 2/3.
So what's the expectation? Because, you got to get to 5 to have a decision. And I don't know how many games Miz started where he even made it to a point where he could be in the decision.
Right.
He's gotten some decisions because he came in later in the game on relief appearances. Our expectation of starting pitching has changed in Major League Baseball. The relief pitchers are as important as starters, if in some cases not more important. Yet, when we get a guy like the Miz, why can't we expect him to pitch 6-ish innings? I chose not to say 7 there. Why can't we expect him to pitch 6-ish innings? That shouldn't be too much. And so why do we have this feeling about the Miz? Well, you look at the way he pitched last year, and he's the wild thing in flesh. He's going to throw it.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, he throws it a gazillion miles an hour, and we're not really sure where it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. But it went where it was supposed to end last year.
It did.
I think they're going to be cautious with him. And I think they're going to be cautious with him because they're looking at Woody. They're looking at Priester. They're saying, we are not going to start the season, have Miz go out there and push him too hard as everyone continues to ramp up throughout the season, and then lose him too. I think they're going to be cautious, knowing they're starting the season out again, really kind of hindering in the starting rotation department.
Well, look at the starting rotation as it stands right now, Josh. Who are the 5 that would be in the rotation, in your opinion, knowing that we don't know yet?
I thought they did put out something like who you thought was going to be.
Yeah, that's what I was asking you. Who are the 5 that you think are going to be in the starting rotation based on the conversation with the Miz?
Well, Patrick. I mean, after Miz, Patrick.
Yep. Woody's in there, obviously.
Woody, but when
he's in the rotation for sure to start the season. I just don't know how long we can expect him to pitch in a game, which is also agonizing.
So you expect to see him pitch one of the first 6 games?
Yeah, I do. I think so. If not, Aaron Ashby. But the other 2, to my point here, the other 2 in the starting rotation weren't Brewers last year. And that's a big deal. That shows you that the trades that we made for the names that left, although tough to swallow at that time, actually turned out to be pretty good for the Brewers, knowing that Sproat could be, Harrison could be. Those are names that didn't exist last year.
Right. They went and they got a lot of guys. They got guys. We just don't know how they're going to be, which that was the point that I said in spring training of, okay, so if these things don't work out, if someone doesn't perform, we have people waiting in the wings. We can bring up or try other guys in those positions. It's not, that's a good problem to have, and one that it was pretty evident that Matt Arnold was like, yeah, I'm not running into this problem again, to where we're short arms, we're short bats. We're going to have people ready to go if we don't get the performance from the people we need that are already called up.
The 414 on the Nicolay Law talking text line, 414-677-1250, says, you guys know it's all about pitch count, right? The question is that they let him go 100, or do they pull him at that 80-plus range? Also, because he has a lot of strikeouts, he racks up more pitches. Well, a lot of strikeouts, just based on how far the at-bat goes, could mean a lot more pitches. The hardest part about Miz is that we don't know what the pitch count is.
Right.
In some cases, it feels like it's 55. Or is it's definitely not 100. And I don't know, has he thrown 80-ish in the starts that he had? I don't think so. I think it's been a lot less than that.
Right. And especially with this being the first time out, even if the pitch count is fairly low, I still wouldn't expect him to come out for the 6th, no matter what. Like, I don't see it happening. I think that, I mean, obviously it'll be situational and they'll see where everything's at. I mean, if he's like got a 1-hitter going or something, sure, maybe. But otherwise, no. I'm gonna expect Murph and this Brewers team to be cautious with Miz, knowing, hey, we need some of these guys. We understand we have arms, but we need some of our bigger guys that are going to make that splash for us to be healthy and available throughout the season.
Them being careful also has a lot to do with who's in the bullpen.
Right.
There's familiar names and deep set of arms in the bullpen that the Brewers know they can count on. Somebody just texted in, why is Ashby not in the rotation? Because he's one of those arms that we know we can count on out of the pen to come in and do damage when we need him to. And I'm not talking for one inning. Ashby has proven he can come in relief and pitch multiple innings. He did it in a start in the playoffs last year. Showed that he can come in and start and pitch a few innings, maybe 3, maybe 4, and then get out. It'll just be interesting to see how they do in terms of the arms.
Mm-hmm.
On a different day, Josh, let's review who we think the starting lineup is going to be and what that looks like in terms of not only position players, although I think that's pretty nailed down, but what the order should be in terms of where they bat. That's a conversation for getting closer to Thursday with the Brewers back in action. 1:10, the first pitch. I'm going to watch it on Brewers TV. Josh is probably going to be there.
I will be there. You bet.
But if hypothetically, if you weren't, do you know how you're watching the games yet?
In my mind, I'm just going to.
They did come out and say that we should be patient, right? Like, oh, this always happens, a day or two before the season.
A lot of people are just making comments that it's a money grab because they came out and they said that you'll know before opening day. Okay, well, that's in like 72 hours. But so people are just saying, yeah, okay, so you're not telling us on purpose so that more people pay that $99.99 and just sign up for Brewers TV.
Okay, so I thought that was interesting. They're in negotiation, they said, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're negotiating with the satellite, the cable, the whatever, but they're promoting Brewers TV. I want to know what the revenue difference is between people subscribing online and what revenue they're missing by putting it on cable and satellite, because that was very telling. Love Sophia Minnaert. Respect the living you-know-what out of her in terms of her job. But I thought it was interesting that she put out a video via the Milwaukee Brewers the other day and encouraged people to sign up for the subscription. I was like, uh-oh.
Our boy Jeff Levering's done it too. They've had all those guys doing it.
Spectrum has channel 1308 labeled as Brewers baseball if you go to the guide from the 262. Is that breaking news?
I can't confirm that. I saw someone put out like a screenshot of it, and it just like it was not a channel. It was like a blue screen. And so that's why we need more information, because it's like, okay, if that's the case, does that mean that we're not like it's literally until game time? You're gonna tune into blue screen? Is there going to be other programming?
I doubt it.
This is what I'm saying.
This isn't a network. It's not a network. This is where the game is going to be played. That's it. Yeah. Where is Giannis playing? Is Giannis playing? What did we miss? Did he hurt his knee, Josh?
Maybe. I don't know.
I need you to bring me up to speed. I know you were glued over vacation.
Yeah.
And I want to know where you stand. I know you don't want to. Listen, we can't just talk about Giannis when he's your best friend. And you're happy.
God, can you imagine if Giannis was my best friend? Be the best. Like think about Mr. Beast. You guys know Mr. Beast, like the billionaire YouTube creator. Like he just like being one of his best friends is like you're living the life. Like you just do videos and go on yachts and drive like $1 million cars. Like,
you
just
think
imagine
that's what it would be like to be Giannis'
I don't
best
know.
friend?
I don't know, but I bet
yachts.
your life would be like the coolest if you were just like Giannis' best friend. You just hung out.
Well, I want to know how your life is when he's currently clueless.
When he's not my best friend. That's current. All right, I'll give you an update.
Hey, there's some realism for you.
Yeah.
All right, what's the scoop on Giannis, and what should we expect on a morning where I guess we're just going to lay out all of our expectations for the week and just see how they play out. Have you been taking notes? Me neither. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. One last Hot Stove Weekly. Join Tim Allen, Tommy Wartz at the Rally House in Mayfair as they broadcast live on Wednesday night starting at 5 and put that hot stove out because the grills get lit on Thursday and it's official. No more hot stove as of Wednesday night, but one more preview show, one more what could be, one more what's it going to look like from Tommy and Tim on a Wednesday night from 5 on.
I think it's important to note as well is that when you won't be hearing them on Hot Stove, you'll be hearing them before and after every Brewers game. So they ain't going nowhere. It's just the season's here. It's time to get into it.
Just got to put out that hot stove. Inside Wisconsin Sports, Trevor and Josh and Giannis? Question mark?
Where is he? Is he here?
Well, he ain't here.
No, he's not.
I don't know if he's going to be in Milwaukee. So we all saw what the comment was. He's either going to sign an extension or he's going to get traded.
What?
Now, well, sure. To you, pretty well, duh.
Oh, come on.
Here's my question.
Okay.
Giannis has said he wants to stay in Milwaukee. Giannis has said he wants to win a championship in Milwaukee. He wants to retire as a Milwaukee Buck. If they put a Supermax contract extension in front of him, based on what Giannis has said, this isn't even a conversation. He signs it, right?
The things that Giannis has said, and you've loved to bring them up, he has said he loves Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to win. He wants to win in Milwaukee. He needs to win. I live a lot of my life by needs and wants. What's a need? What's a want? He laid out what a need is and what a want is. And he's felt that way the entire time. I don't know what he's going to do. I will not be surprised if it turns out he's not going to sign. He will have done everything in his power to finish his contract.
By him not signing, is that in a way him asking for a trade?
Yes. Yeah.
So essentially is him asking, even though he said he would never ask for a trade, but if he didn't sign the contract extension that got put in front of him, albeit most likely a Supermax,
right?
It's essentially him going, guys, we're not going to win here.
Right. It's not him saying, trade me. You must trade me. But, which to be honest with you, in the NBA, that's what we're used to, right? That's what we see from superstars. How many times have we seen LeBron James do it? How many times have we seen James Harden's done it on almost every single team? He's bounced around so much. A lot of these guys, that's what we're used to. I'm unhappy, trade me now. Okay. Giannis hasn't been that. He's saying he won't be that. However, if when the season's done and they say, here's your Supermax, please sign, and he goes, guys, I'm not going to sign it. Then
why?
Then the Bucks have no choice but to go, okay, then we got to trade you.
Why wouldn't Giannis sign it?
I mean, there's various reasons. If he thinks that he has a better opportunity somewhere else, if he just wants to experience playing in the NBA somewhere else, if he signs that next Supermax, essentially his career is here, his entire career. I mean, even if he plays somewhere else, it's the last years of his career. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he's saying to everyone if he signs the next Supermax. But he's not going back on his word if he doesn't sign the Supermax. He's not being that player that demanded a trade. He's not being what Shams went and said this whole time. He's not doing that. He's saying, I will fulfill my contract that I signed here as a Milwaukee Buck, knowing damn well that the Bucks aren't going to let that happen because they need to get something for him if he doesn't re-sign.
Why can't he stay healthy?
Well, there are two reasons. One, it could be because he's just become injury prone or has been injury prone, or two would be because his style of play and the way that he plays basketball is so aggressive, and when he's not getting the foul calls that a LeBron James gets, then his body takes a beating, and he either needs to change that style or he's going to have problems staying healthy and playing a full season.
And so where do you stand?
I'm going to continue to wait and see how it plays out and feel how I'm going to feel when that time comes.
Is there
I will
anything
tell
that could
you,
happen that would send you sideways other than I mean, if he's no longer a Buck, you're going to be sideways either way. But is there something in this scenario that would send you sideways?
like furious? No, there's not a Craig Counsell to the Cubs scenario. I guess maybe if he ended up like as a pacer or something, but like there's not, the Bucks don't really have like that super big rival the same way the Brewers have the Cubs.
The Brewers used to have it with the White Sox. That's who they play on Thursday. We'll get that scoop from Tim Allen coming up next. It's the Chicago team that we don't really care about, but hey, it's opening day, and that's all that matters. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Tim Allen, the franchise, joins us next. Stay here.
treat it like a family. You know, we really do. And our guys are just good guys. They really care about winning, and they care about the community, and they care about each other.
It's pretty special, man. Everybody feels like close friends here. I feel like I'm playing Little League baseball against and with some friends, so it's fun.
We found out what matters is who's in this room. Tell us whatever the hell you want. What we got in this room, we can do anything we want. A team of so-called Indians who have carried themselves like champions in a city that still remembers the Harvey Wallbangers of '82. This group has something its own magic. Stick to our standards and have another incredible season. Don't be shocked.
What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
That's cinematic audio, courtesy of the Milwaukee Brewers Twitter page, who has us getting excited. And there are only going to be more postings from that particular Brewers account as we continue on the countdown to opening day at AmFam Field this Thursday, 1:10 against the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And so to recap spring training and to preview said opener of the 2026 MLB season, we bring in the franchise himself, the one and only Tim Allen, joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline this time, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Not the co-host chair, although we're grateful that you filled in for us last week. Timmy, good to see you, man.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, opening day is what's going on, but could you recap before we move on to Thursday? Could you recap what, if anything, we learned from this spring?
Well, we learned that there's a little bit of an injury bug, not nearly as bad as last year. So it's held to a little bit of a minimum. We also learned that there's a little more depth on this roster here. So if something does go awry here early on in the season, first month or two or a couple of weeks, injury, lack of production, there's a little depth there. Say, for example, Joey Ortiz. Okay, if he doesn't hit after a couple of months, well, there's Jet Williams or there's David Hamilton. So there are some depth factors involved here. The win-loss record, those only matter when you want them to. Don't worry about that stuff. Unless it's really good, then we point to it. The biggest thing is the pitching rotation, Trevor, that's the one to look at, and those are the guys that are going to have to hold things to a status quo and keep you in the game to get to that bullpen, to get to the Brewers' third, fourth time through in the offensive lineup, to kind of just win on a nightly basis. And that right there, Mizorowski obviously announced since you guys left that he will be the opening day starter. And talk about the energy at American Family Field. It's opening day, which is a holiday in and among itself.
Mm-hmm.
But then you throw in, I think I read on Twitter, it was a heat advisory.
Yeah.
Mizorowski is going to start opening day. That is exciting. That is some major, major energy.
So, yeah, we find out, Tim, that Miz is on the mound. Once we learned about Priester, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't shocked when that was the announcement. I was kind of like, yeah, okay, that makes sense based on Woody and Priester both having an injury. But then we find out a little bit more about players that are being sent back down to AAA. We find out Blake Perkins is going there, Robert Gasser, Tyler Black. Any of those names surprising to you?
No. Well, Blake Perkins to a degree, yes. That one was the one surprise. Man, Murph loves that dude. The organization loves that dude. I love that dude. After getting an opportunity to chat with him just a few weeks ago. That was the biggest surprise here. Outside of that, Josh, there really hasn't been. Rob is a Strisny, left-handed reliever. He's suffering a shoulder that he experienced in the World Baseball Classic for Team Canada, and that's going to replace, it looks like, Easton McGee.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, everything's everything's pretty much set. Now, we were wondering what the rotation may be. Is Aaron Ashby in the rotation? I guess that still is to be determined yet. But, that rotation just breaking camp with Mizorowski, no Priester for now. Woody's going, it looks like all indications are he's going to be in the rotation and pitch early on in the first maybe series. Maybe he gets that Sunday game. Geez, this coming Sunday, it's crazy. This
Insane.
Thursday it starts.
I know.
You just have to catch yourself on that. But yeah, and then Chad Patrick is a vital part. Kyle Harrison is going to be a big part of that. Brandon Sproat could be in the mix or in that pen. So I guess the question would be Sproat or Aaron Ashby in that rotation.
So, but in regards to, Perkins not making it, so it seemed like Lockridge took his spot. And as much as we might not want to say that, spots are necessarily claimed in spring training and that the main focus was on health, Brandon Lockridge played his way onto this team.
He
No?
did. Yeah, he did. He made some adjustments, and that was interesting when we listened to Brandon Lockridge last week. Made some adjustments of, I don't have to be the slap hitter in a scoreless game when I get my first AB in the second or third inning. I can go ahead and use pull power. I can go ahead and drive the baseball. I can go ahead and do some exit velocity. That's interesting because, what my favorite brand of baseball is bat to ball skills. Let's go. Give me a batting average and everything is going to flow underneath that. Give me a batting average. I'm all in on base percentage, but it goes to show that if you have a good batting average, your on base percentage is going to follow suit. But yeah, Lockridge just, maybe he's the surprise here. We always get them in good ways and bad ways. So the surprises of, wow, look what Bryce Terang did a couple of years ago. And just boom, wow, quantum leap kind of thing. And then we have the bad surprise about Woody, really kind of, without a season. And then they sign him for 2 years. No, he's not going to pitch for one of them. That's a bad surprise. But Lockridge may be in that good category.
Tim Allen joins us on Inside Wisconsin Sports, previewing the Brewers season. So based on spring training and all the things that we just listed, Josh and I have had a lot of conversation this morning in regard to expectations and how they are typically disappointments waiting to happen, i.e. the Badgers in the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
What should our expectations be for the Milwaukee Brewers? Because every time you open your mouth, you say the championship 2026 season for the Milwaukee Brewers. Yep. Is that the expectation?
I'm going to be right one of these times, Trevor. It's going to happen. And then everyone's going to say, yeah, Tim Allen had it right. He said the championship season back in spring training, and it happened. But I expect the same. Expect what we've been getting as Brewer fans the last decade. And certainly expect on a nightly basis what we've experienced under Pat Murphy. It is, let's get this game tonight, and I don't care if I burn my bullpen. We'll bring other arms up. We'll send some arms down. We'll get some fresh arms in. We'll get some overworked arms out. I want to win this ball game. I want to go tonight and get this ball game. That's what he's been doing. So now you look at all the prognostications of Brewers baseball. It's been generally the same thing every year. And it's been, there's also the Brewers. And they'll do a breakdown, whether it's ESPN, USA Today, MLB Network. They'll do a breakdown of the National League Central. And, oh, man, Terry Francona comes into Cincinnati. Look out. And that came to fruition a little bit. They did make the playoffs last year. But then they say, wow, look, the Cubs. Look at these Cubs. The council has got these Cubs. This is the Cub kind of year. And then, and there's also the Brewers. You can never count them out. And that's about as best as you could get out of these national guys. And then every year, about mid-season, they all throw up their arms and they say, yep, I was wrong again. I should have known better. And they'll just admit it, guys. I should have known better. At risk of being wrong again, ...
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll finish up on their Brewer blurb in their NL Central breakdown. The nightly movie that we get, 162 games in 185 days, 186 days, I think it is. That is just a beautiful thing when it comes to, our love of the Brewers and the brand of baseball that they play. It's just an exciting form of baseball, guys. It is. They hit with power. Their averages over the last, few years, it's been dynamite. Their batting average, team batting average, individual batting averages. I do this exercise just about every year, and it's been painful. At times, it's been excruciating, where I'll get upset over the Brewer, literally just their batting averages. I'll say, okay, well, let's check their competition tonight. Let's check, maybe it was an interleague game against the Rangers or something. And I'll say, okay, look at these batting averages. Now, this was in years past, and they were deplorable. Well, now you look at it and you say, oh, wow, okay, 281, I'll take that. 276, I'll take that. Bam, 291, I'll take that. Out of one of your defensive gems of on the infield, 251, yeah, we'll take that. Those are the things that have turned the corner here. Expect right around the same. Now, here's the caveat. Here is the warning shot here. That rotation needs to perform. You cannot consistently get beat up, and there will be days where a young rotation does get beat up, and I'm going to do my best to show some patience there, even though I know it's going to happen. Kyle Harrison is going to get beat up one start, and it's going to be 2 2/3. He's given up 6 runs, 5 earned. There was an error that didn't help. I'm going to show my best patience this year on that stuff, but that is the key, gentlemen. That rotation, as young as they are, there will be some growing pains. As good as Chris Hook and Henderson are in the pitching department, there's going to be some growing pains. Got to do our best to get through that. And what that means is that on average, at least once a week, the offense has to pick that up. So where a young pitcher takes his lumps on a given day, maybe it's the exact same night that the Brewers offense puts up 8 runs, and then they get an 8-5, 8-6 win.
So what's your expectation for innings from Miz on opening day?
Yeah. I mean,
over under 4.
Now, here's what's broken in baseball.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we go back to the flaw in the system here in baseball. Unless you're one of the biggies, the elite names in the starting position, what do these guys say? Now, I'm not saying this yet. I'll give you my answer. Well, if you can get 5 strong out of him. Wait, what? What happened? I mean, in the age of just 25 years, let's just say, for example, American Family Field, celebrating its 25th year of that stadium, which is crazy to think about, how 25 years of your life has gone by. Anyway, just in that age, just in that era, you've gone from, well, let's get 7 strong, man. I need to get into that and through that 7th inning. I'll turn it over to the back end of the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Down to, well, you can get 5, 5 1/3, 5 2/3. A quality start is defined. Now, I don't know who invented this, but a quality start is a 4.5 ERA. That's 3 runs in 6 innings. Some people debate that. We've had a lot of debates on that. Should that be a legitimate stat, a quality start? Just think about that. 3 runs in 6 innings. You prorate that out for 3 more innings. That's 4.5. That's a 4.5 ERA. What the quality start does is it at least keeps you in the game. And so I'm all in on the quality start. I love the stat. A lot of people don't because in theory, it's a 4.5 ERA. I like it because of the specialty nature of bullpens these days And that 6 innings of 3 runs or less means you're in every game. If the Brewers are down 3-0 in the bottom of the 9th, I still consider that in the game Thursday. I do. So to answer your question, I want a quality start out of these guys on a nightly basis. Is it going to happen? Probably not. And for sure not. Because they just get itchy trigger fingers. And it's, third time through the lineup. Well, how am I going to get 3 times through the lineup if you don't let me?
Okay, but especially with the injuries that are already present with Woody and Priester, there's no way, in my mind, there's no way that they leave Miz out there to go 5 2/3 to get through the 6th inning. There's no way. I don't see it on opening day.
I'm going to agree with you, not because I would do it that way, but because I think they will do it that
way. I think they're going to be cautious, Tim.
Yep.
Tim Allen, Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Timmy, one more before we let you go. On the way back from spring break, I typically prop my phone up where the boys can watch some sort of movie on it that's connected to the sound system.
Sure.
And I'll glance over from time to time in a safe manner. I played just a bit outside. The second we hit the Wisconsin border, and it finished up not long before we got home, that team and that support from the fan base of the Milwaukee Brewers is different today. When we lose in the NLCS, we're down as a fan base. If we make it back to the World Series and lose, I feel like we'll be down as a fan base. Can we just look ourselves in the mirror here as Brewers fans and say, where are we at? Where are we at with this team? Because I would do anything for the Milwaukee Brewers. They are my number one. I know they're your number one. I know they're Josh's number one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's a lot of people like us. So where do we land as a Brewers fan base, Tim? And do we truly believe?
There are so many different definitions of success. It almost makes me nauseous. Because and they're all valid. I get it. It can be subjective. There's only one. Here's a good one to defend not winning a World Series in over, your existence here since 1970. There's only one team that wins the championship, Tim. Yeah, but how many shots at it? I mean, you're looking at 1970. There's 30 years gets you to the new century. There's 25 more. You're looking at 55 years, and you can't be that, well, there's only one team that wins the title. It's so difficult. This organization has set itself up now as expectations have risen. And that is what I think has changed in terms of the Brewers fan base, where the expectations now, this baseline has been to another level. You look at the playoff appearances in the last decade, there aren't many teams, guys, that match that. Think about that. So there's another definition of success. Is that successful? Well, it sure is in comparison to 26 years with no playoffs. Then we celebrate that. Wow, this truly is the golden era of Brewers baseball to a lot of fans. Okay, once we've achieved this, and if you're watching on video, I don't know, Trevor, if you can see that. That's a
little Craig Counsell. Yeah, he's upside down.
He's hanging. Yeah, and I'm going to you are getting sleepy, so I'm swinging him now. But I mean, so what is success then? And I'll be honest, at the end of last year, I had Pat Murphy on. He did me a huge favor. He was literally on his way back from Milwaukee after exit interview after exit interview. And, he had travel, and there was some issues with some travel at that time. I can't remember what it was, whether it was weather or TSA or whatever it was. He literally, Trevor, Josh, literally was walking in the door, getting home from his year of work. So he does me a favor. And admittedly, I could sense right away he was crabby. Okay, in talking to him a million times. And I dangerously asked the question, a lot of people define success a little differently. How do you define your season here? And he was offended by the question itself. Now think about that. He was offended by me asking him his definition of, well, was this, I won't call it a failure. That's a pretty strong word. You get to the NLCS, I don't know if failure is a thing, because I don't think any year the Brewers are World Series or bust. That's for the big payroll teams, because that's why they invest that, to get to that point, World Series or bust. However, is it a successful season? That's a tough call. Now, he shouldn't be offended by the question itself, because people have these different definitions of it. But the baseline is there now. That whole bite at the apple, knock at the door, pretty soon you'll kick it down, all those things. They come into play here. But you have to get to this level. And again, I'll ask you guys, would you trade a World Series title for 10 years of no playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that is a tough answer for a lot of people, Josh.
A lot
you
of people
answered emphatically right away.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would say, hey, man, this is the journey every year. This is a different storyline every year. And, man, it was a blast. So it depends what you want out of it.
And my response, because a lot of people, Tim, get on me and they go, that's not true, Josh. It's not true. And if it actually happened, I promise you, you wouldn't even be a Brewer fan anymore if you had it. And I go, listen, that all changes if we have one, even if it wasn't in my lifetime, as much as I'd want it to be. If they won in 82.
Look what's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, I still see highlights of that 2021 run by the Bucks come across my Twitter feed, my social media feed, and I stop.
Just amazing.
And I watch every montage video, and I enjoy the hell out of it. But I would love to do that for 10 years to see the Brewers finally be able to celebrate a World Series victory.
Oh, man, it'll be great. And in the meantime, what you do every year is you reset, re-rack. You're excited about the season getting going. I love the analogy of it is like watching a good movie every single night, all summer long. You know, things get a little boring with your life. Oh, man, first pitch, 7:10. It's Friday night. Let's throw on the Brewers game. There's Sal Frelick crashing into a wall, making it. That's all part of what your definition of success is. What do you want out of it? And it is, Craig Counsell taught me this, enjoy the ride. And what happens at the end happens at the end. That doesn't mean we can assess the season way at the end. But in the meantime, and I thought it was a good point, enjoy this ride. Part of the enjoyment, now Sparky will say, you're crazy. Part of the enjoyment is the strife that a season brings you. That is, in a weird way, part of the enjoyment, because that's part of the story. That's part of the book you're reading. That's part of the movie you're watching. I love it on a regular basis. I won't say World Series or bust, but gosh dang it. Can you win one once? Have it be these guys one time. It was almost there last year. Almost. And it was almost there couple of years ago, and it was almost there. Just that one more step. Give me one more step. Get there. Again, what a way to end an enjoyable ride, which is Brewers baseball. What a way to cap that with a World Series appearance. Let's just start there. A World Series appearance would be just major.
Amazing. I would have no money left. Tim Allen.
True.
Inside Wisconsin Sports. Timmy, grab your fire extinguisher. Douse that hot stove on Wednesday. It's for real come Thursday. We'll talk to you again soon.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. When we come back, was this high point loss for the Badgers the worst loss in the Greg Gard era in terms of the tournament? And where are the Badgers at with NCAA appearances, and why does it feel the way it does? We'll review, and we'll get after what this one means for Gard moving forward. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, analyzing what in the world happened against High Point for the Wisconsin Badgers. And I know many of us have moved on and we're off to the Sweet 16 with our brackets and whatever you may have in front of you. But there's some telling statistics in regard to this loss in particular and what it means for the Greg Gard era at Wisconsin. Josh, this, upon further review, may be the longest stretch of Wisconsin basketball without a Sweet 16 appearance since 1994.
Yep.
We've had a lot of conversation this morning about expectations and why they seem to hurt the way they do as Wisconsin sports fans. The reason is success. When the Badgers went back to the NCAA tournament in 1994, it was the first time in forever that they had been there. But since then, there's been few seasons where they've missed the tournament completely. But 2 of those seasons have fallen under Greg Gard since he started coaching this team 11 seasons ago. They haven't been to the Sweet 16 since his second season as head coach. But prior to that, just look at the different eras. Let's go to the Dick Bennett era. Whether it was in the tournament or the Final Four, and then Brad Soderberg takes over before Bo Ryan comes in. And Bo Ryan completely rewrites the history books for Wisconsin basketball.
Correct.
Then, ironically, makes the same type of exit that Dick Bennett did to give Brad Soderberg a chance. And in comes Greg Gard, who had that roster those first 2 seasons when they went to the Sweet 16. But the NIL era came about, and we haven't been back since. The disappointment comes in the expectation, and the expectation comes from history. And much to the point of what Tim had to say about the Milwaukee Brewers in looking at the success of this team since 2008. We have reached a golden era of Brewers baseball, and so too is true specifically since the Bo Ryan era of Wisconsin basketball. We could say we are in the golden era of Badgers basketball, but not of recent. And then you look at this game against High Point, who was 0-57 against anybody worth a you-know-what in their tenure, and here they come and beat the Badgers.
Yeah.
It stings worse because success is the expectation, and we haven't had it, in terms of the tournament anyway, for Wisconsin in some time.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that it's definitely the recency bias with this game. Maybe a little bit too of expectations changing, looking at what this team was able to do during the season and that changing things. You go back and you look at, because a lot of people want to focus on the fact that this was the third, I believe, 5-12 upset that the Badgers were. And I mean, in 2019, they against Oregon, and they lost 72-54. I mean, that one, they're not even in the game, right? And then you have 2024, 5-12 first round, James Madison, that one, 72-61. And then you have this one in 2026 where they lose 83-82 to High Point. So it's just being a 5-12 upset, first of all, always terrifying, always sucks. I remember saying before the game started after Selection Sunday when you were out, saying, man, kind of wish they would have been a 6 seed, avoided that 5-12 upset. Yeah, 2 6 seeds lost to 11s.
I was just saying it didn't matter, right?
So it didn't matter.
Same thing happened with the Badgers when they were a 3 seed. They lost.
Well, and so, right. And so things can obviously change and be different. But I do think that it's time. You can't, if you don't have a break in between, if you have a couple of years where you don't make it and then you make it, you kind of reset that clock. But when you haven't been there and it's just piling on and you're not clearing that pile to start that clock over, and it just keeps going and keeps going. And that was big this year for Greg Gard in this program. To then, and there were excuses, right? Like we talked to Doug Gottlieb, and this is the nil era, and it's completely different, and things change. Okay, but this pile of not making it to the Sweet 16 goes beyond the nil era. And so he needed to get there. And now I would be very surprised if it's not a lot of the fan base, if they're not already there, saying, Yeah, you got next year to make it, bud, to the Sweet 16, or that's it. You're toast and we're moving on.
The 920 on the Nicolay Law talk and text line, 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. The 920 reminds us the Heat was getting ramped up on Bo until he cracked the Final Four. Well, kinda, but not really. In Bo's first season in 2001, 2002, they made it to the second round. Then Sweet 16. Then the second round. Then the Elite Eight. And then the first round. And then the second round. Then the Sweet 16. Second round. And then everything changed with multiple Sweet 16 appearances. And then the Final Four, the national runner-up. And then we're on to the Greg Gard era.
But to the point, though, even if you look at that, like you just said, 2012 or 2011, 2012, Sweet 16, Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
Then they don't get to the Sweet 16 in 2013, right? And it's like...
Yeah, they lose in the first round.
Right. But again, you cleared it, right? So people aren't focusing on that loss because you were just there, and then you get back. Then in 2014, you're in the Final Four. Then in 2015, you're in the national championship game. That's the difference. There's no clearing mark for Greg Gard. It hasn't been there in too long. If you go to 2019 when they lose in the first round to Oregon, 5-12 upset, if they come back in 2021 and they knock off Baylor as a 9 seed, or even if you go 2022 as a 3 seed, and they don't lose to Iowa State and they make it to the Sweet 16 in 2022, then you can look at his body of work and you go, well, they made the Sweet 16 in 2022. The last couple of seasons have been off, but yeah, he's got to get it back. There's none of that. The stretch of not making it is too long to ignore right now. That's the problem.
And there's been twice in the Gard era where they didn't make it at all. And that is unacceptable. So is the Sweet 16 the benchmark, Josh? Is that what is going to make? Well, I'm saying from a fan perspective, is that our benchmark?
Yeah.
We're good with that. Let's make it to the second weekend. Okay, look at us.
It's not, to me, that's the benchmark doesn't necessarily mean that's when you're celebrating. It's when you're satisfied. To me, that's no different than what Packers fans should be feeling about sneaking into the playoffs every year for the last 3 years. Being a 7 seed, getting past that 7 seed mark for the Green Bay Packers isn't then we're going to go, woohoo! It's okay, good. We got past that benchmark. Then you keep winning. Now it's woohoos. Same thing for the Badgers. If the Badgers would have made it to the Sweet 16 and then got crushed by Arizona, we would have all sat here and gone, I mean, they got to the Sweet 16. Greg Gard did what he needed to, and then they just went up against an amazing Arizona team. That would have been the story. But they didn't get there. They weren't even close to getting there. That's the difference.
So Greg Gard most likely keeps his job. There's nothing that Pat Murphy could do to lose his job with the Brewers this year. Literally nothing.
Correct.
Is the same true for one Craig Counsell and the Chicago Cubs? I want to get Rami's take on that next as we cross over with our friends from 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. That's next. This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
You know, mornings can all start to feel the same, so if you're looking for a fresh wake-up call, look no further than Wendy's Breakfast. Try a breakfast Baconator with fresh cracked eggs and crispy bacon, grilled sausage or bacon breakfast burrito, or maybe even a honey buddy. Don't even think about sleeping on Wendy's seasoned potatoes. Doesn't matter what you go for, it's going to change your life. Okay, well, at least freshen up your morning. Ready for a fresh wake-up call? It's got to be Wendy's. That's what I got this morning. I got the breakfast Baconator that I just said, plus some of their seasoned potatoes. I'm sorry, Trevor, I'm out for this one. You got to talk to Rami. Rami's here. You can go ahead and talk to him.
Rami Maklov, 9 to noon. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate
I got some Wendy's too. Like, why don't?
Sorry, sorry,
Trevor,
buddy.
fill up these last few minutes.
No,
here.
No, sorry.
I got the bacon, egg, and cheese croissant. Was my order for the morning with a little coffee. I just learned, Trevor. I just learned your partner here doesn't drink coffee. He hosts a morning show and he doesn't drink coffee.
Hammers energy drinks.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's not true.
I've seen the empty cans or half-empty cans
What
of
do you mean
energy.
you don't
drinks
hammer
sitting here.
energy? You have energy drinks every single morning.
I like half of it throughout the show. Half of one energy drink. How many cups of coffee do you have in the morning?
This one?
Yeah.
That's a giant cup you just held up, Trevor.
Shut up. Hey, all right, so
there you go.
Listen, you can rub it in my face that you guys got breakfast all you want, but don't come at my coffee. Too early for that.
You started this.
I'm not knocking you.
Greg Gard, hot-ish seat. Luke Fickle's seat is melted. Doc Rivers was the seat. He doesn't even have a seat anymore.
Yeah,
He's
it's gone.
waiting for
It's
this
torched.
season to end.
Yes, yeah.
Is Craig Counsell on the hot seat in Chicago if they don't make the playoffs this year?
No, I think this is year 3 of the 5-year contract that they gave him. I guess you could say maybe the seat starts to warm up. I think you're going to keep a guy through at least 4 years of a 5-year contract, especially with the money that they gave him, because they'll have to pay him that money even if they fire him. I think he's safe through at least 4 of those 5 years, if not all 5 of those 5 years, especially if they keep. And look, this isn't where I heard you guys talking with Tim, and it was actually a conversation we wanted to have later in the week or maybe tomorrow on the show of like, what is a successful season? The bar I'm setting is not just make the playoffs, like as a Cubs fan, for the Chicago Cubs and for Craig Counsell. But I think as long as you keep making the playoffs and you have the contract that he has, I think he probably gets all 5 years of that 5-year deal. But yeah, if this year falls short of expectations, I think going into year 4, the seat is maybe a little bit warm for Craig Counsell.
Did anyone else just see Rami completely change? You went from, no, I think he's fine regardless. Well, I think as long as they're making the playoffs, to, well, okay, if they don't, then the seat might be a little warm.
If they don't make the playoffs at all, then yes, it gets warm for year 4.
Right. So that's the question. It's not about winning the division, right? Because I feel like that's a little bit different. It's
coffee.
If he wins the division in comparison to if they make the playoffs. If they just make the playoffs this year and next year, they don't get past the Brewers to win the division. Probably is fine. If they don't make it at all,
then yes, then it might be a wrap after 4 years. If they don't make it at all in either of these next 2 years, I think it might be a wrap after 4 years. But again, the money that they gave him, that provides a little bit of security, because no team wants to pay that money for a guy that's not working for the organization anymore. And no matter how deep your pockets are, that's not something that you want to do.
Listen, GB's been doing it for years.
Yeah,
I feel like they were paying here in Green Bay at the Phoenix. Link Darner, Will Ryan were both getting paid at the same time. And unless we get a buyout for Sundance Wicks, like we can't afford that at the mid-major D1 level, let alone something like the Chicago Cubs. Listen, these managers don't make a ton in comparison to some of the other contracts.
how many managers are the Bucks paying right now?
I was just going to bring that up. Somebody just texted it. Actually, Adrian Griffin didn't make it 3 months into a 5-year contract. That's fair. That is fair, but that's a different situation, and it's not the amount of the money that Craig Counsell got in his 5-year deal. But weren't the Bucks? Are they still paying Mike Budenholzer, or did that end after last season? I know at one point they were paying 3 coaches with Doc Rivers, Adrian Griffin, and Mike Budenholzer. I don't know. I don't know if the Budenholzer deal is up yet, or if that's still something that's on the books.
That's why we've said they won't fire Doc Rivers. Like, they have no reason to fire Doc Rivers right now. None. In season, none.
No, not in season. But if he doesn't walk away gracefully at the end of the year and go, it's been a great run, and
He
I'm
will. But they don't have to pay him anymore.
That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't, if he's like, no, man, I'm sticking around, I want that paycheck, then you gotta bite the bullet and you gotta tell that guy it's been real and have a great life, but we're moving forward.
The most said 3 words in the history of sports happened today. How's your bracket?
Not great. My bracket was. Can a bracket be busted after like round 1 of the NCAA tournament?
Yep.
I think
it usually is.
I think I picked 18 of 32 games correctly. Like I was almost 500 on the first round of the tourney, and nobody busted it more than the Badgers did. I had them going to the Elite 8, not just the Sweet 16. I know a lot of people had them making it to the Sweet 16. I had them getting through Arkansas and going to the Elite 8. My bracket is, I haven't looked at it like probably since, I don't know, Saturday morning, because it was so busted that I was like, well, that's a waste of time. What are you going to open your bracket for? I'll check it before I get on the air here, and maybe before I get off the air with you guys, but I don't think it's good, you guys. I don't think I'm doing very well in the bracket right now.
The final perfect men's bracket was busted Sunday night when Tennessee beat Virginia. That was it. There was one perfect bracket left in the history of this year's brackets, and there are no more.
Okay, so I'm looking at it right now. I pulled it up quickly while we were talking. I think there are 26 people in the office pool that we got going here at the Milwaukee affiliate. Trevor, I don't know if you got that email or that Slack notification, I guess, because we don't use email anymore. Now
right, it's all Slack.
We have to use Slack because that's much better and different than what we were doing before. And I think there are 26 people in the pool. I'm in 22nd place right now. I'm in 22nd place, and I have 43 points. I don't know what the max number of points is that you could have at this point, but I know it ain't 43. I know 43 is a long ways off.
Yeah.
From the it says here, I'm looking at it. Max points 167. I have 43. I'm scoring a 25% on my bracket so far. It is not good.
You're not good.
I'm looking at all the red. It's literally a bloodbath with all the red that's in my bracket right now.
This is why brackets piss me off. Boy.
No, this is why brackets are great. Chaos. I live for the chaos.
We had 13 people in our house on spring break, including an 8-year-old boy, a 6th grade girl, all of our wives, and my youngest son who doesn't watch sports. I'll give you one guess who I'm losing to in the bracket pool that we did in this house.
The son that does not watch sports.
100%. He's ahead of me. My wife is ahead of me. The 6th grade girl is winning the pool.
That's how it goes. Coming in play some basketball.
Over the weekend, and the thought never even occurred to me, you guys, because I don't know about you. I'm not going willingly into the AI revolution. I will revolt in the AI revolution. But I heard a lot of people used AI to fill out their brackets, and I was like, you know what? That's maybe one area where I should use AI. That's maybe one area where I should just go ahead and let the computer do the work.
Maybe I'll have AI pick my baseball bets for the year. We'll see. Inside Wisconsin Sports, Trevor and Josh, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff up next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See you tomorrow.
Because we're not done yet.